Hello and welcome to a DUM DUMS guide to music theory. So, music. We all know it. We have all listened to it, whether by radio, by these newfangled apps called Spotify, or just around. Music is made up of notes. Not those kind of notes. These kind of notes. How do we read notes? Well, music notes are divided into groups called measures, or bars, separated by these lines, called bar lines. And music is written to fit within those lines. How many notes are within each of those lines? Well, that depends on the time signature. The most common time signature is 4/4, also known as common time. Yes, aptly named. The top number signifies how many beats there are per measure. The bottom number signifies what kind of note constitutes one beat. Now, that's a little bit complicated for now, but just know that usually 4 is going to be on the bottom, and 4 is usually on the top, but most of the time it's going to be 4 on the bottom either way. And now, so in 4/4, these notes have these many beats. So quarter note is filled up and it has a line and it has one beat. A half note is hollow and has a line and it has 2 beats. A whole note's just a hollow circle and it has 4 beats. Now a dotted half note is basically just a half note plus the dot, which the dot always means that it's the original duration of the note plus half of itself. So the original is 2 and then half of itself is 1. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. So a dotted half note is 3 beats. Now we can also go smaller than 1 beat. An eighth note is half of a beat and a dotted quarter note is 1 beat plus half of a beat, which is 1.5 beats, also known as 3/8 notes. You can do the mental math from there. There's also more separations and weird rhythms, but those are kind of the basics. Now, we also have rests, which are basically the same type of thing as notes because they indicate rhythm, but instead of when a note is being played, it's when there's nothing being played. So we've got a whole rest, a half rest, a quarter rest, an eighth rest. Just like the notes, they have the same amount of beats, like a whole rest is 4 beats, half rest is 2 beats, quarter note is 1 beat. Also, a quarter rest is notoriously hard to draw. And so I just kept a little picture of how it normally looks because oftentimes people will just stop trying and draw a little scribble. But yeah, and you can add dots to these just like notes to increase the length of time. So if you want to make 3 beats of a rest, you can take the half rest and then just add a dot to it. But yeah, now that we know rhythms, we need to talk about pitch. So music notation indicates pitches using the alphabet. No, not the entire alphabet, just this. We only know A, B, C, D, E, F, G in the music world. Now, to figure out how to read these notes on the staff, which is made up of 5 lines, we need to know what clef we're in. So clefs basically just indicate how high or low generally your instrument's going to be. So if you have, for example, a violin, that would be in treble clef because it's higher. Meanwhile, if you have something like a cello, you would be in bass clef because it's lower. Piano uses both clefs because you oftentimes use both hands to play music. And many other instruments have other clefs, like violas have alto clef, but that's really not important right now because no one cares about violas. So, for treble clef, it's pretty easy. The spaces in between each line indicate which note, and the order of those from down to up is F-A-C-E, also known as face. So, over here, this space over here is F, this is A, this is C, and this is E. And if you're ever worried about figuring out where everything is and having to memorize it, don't worry because it's made simplified for dum-dums like you. And each note basically goes up in order of the alphabet. So if we start here where A is, we have A. On this line, it's B, and then we have C. This line is D, and then this space is E. And once we get to F and then G, it goes all the way back to A again. So then we have another A. And if we ever go above the staff, we just add an extra line, but the line is only where the note is. And there will be a demonstration of that later. But same thing for bass clef, except the order is A, C, E, G. There's not really an easier way to remember this face, but you can use an acronym like all cows eat grass or something similar. Whatever works. Just kind of memorize that. Depends on the instrument you're playing, or if you're just learning for fun composing, it's better to know both. Here's all of the spaces and all of the lines, and here's a much more simple way to think about it. Each note in order. Yeah, that's kind of it. It's just a matter of memorizing. So go do that. Practice. There's plenty of websites online that just have practicing naming notes. And once you're ready, try practicing with this little exercise. I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Pause and come back. Okay, now that you're back, let's read this. So start here. Since we know face, F, A, C, E. So we start F here. What's right above F? Well, after F is G. So this is G. And then from there, we don't necessarily need to go through the whole face thing again. We can just see in relation to G, where's this note? This is 1, 2 below G. What is below G? G, F, E. So this is E. What is below E? E, D, C. So this is C. And so on, until you have the melody. Alright, that's it for episode 1 of Music Theory for Dum Dums. Stay tuned for episode 2, and have a horrible day.